All right, Stacey, what is one area with the Seahawks where you'd like to see them improve?
So I want to preface this by saying it is not easy to be consistently great here because of the nature of what it entails. And I'm talking about free agency. The very best players on teams don't become free agents, but because top-tier free agents who do become available can be really good players, they often lead to bidding wars or overpaid. So you're paying a lot for someone who isn't the best. So naturally, it's kind of hard to be able to find someone in free agency that's going to be like a game wrecker, this amazing impact player for you because he wasn't the best guy on his team or he wouldn't have hit free agency. So it's a complicated thing. And I understand that, like, I'm not turning to free agency as the area where any team, much less the Seahawks, need to find every answer and need to find their greatest impact. That needs to come from the draft and developing guys that you've already drafted. That's where that needs to come from, in addition to getting the most out of contracts you've already awarded. So getting the most out of DK Metcalf, getting the most out of Tyler Lockett, getting as big a return as possible from those big investments. I just wanted to make that clear. I'm not pointing to free agency going, this is where you need to hit. However, I did notice just like an interesting pattern when it comes to the Seahawks and free agency, which is that even in years when they did have money to spend, they've not really done an exceptional job.
What was it, the 2021? Or no, the 2020 season.
You're thinking of Eddie Lacy and Luke Jokel?
No, I'm thinking of the Greg Olson year where they had, I think, like $60 million to spend, and they did not.
Well, and it's weird, right? Like I said before, the very best player from each team is not suddenly available in free agency. Those guys don't touch free agency. Bobby Wagner, for a long while, didn't touch free agency. Russell Wilson, for a long while. Russell Wilson, it's his first time becoming a free agent.
That's true.
At 35. Those guys don't hit free agency for a reason. I think their best recent signing is Uchenna Nwosu, so I want to give them credit where credit's due for some of these guys. But, like, there are a lot of names that haven't worked out that they were looking at to be starters. Gerald Everett, Akella Witherspoon, Kerry Hyder, Greg Olson, B.J. Finney, who, granted, was used for a trade in Carlos Dunlap, Brandon Shell, who was supposed to be a starter, Ziggy Ansah, who can forget him, Jamar Taylor, Ed Dixon, Oday Abushi, who was brought in to be a starter.
What a list.
These aren't guys added for just depth. These were guys that you brought in to try to make an impact and try to really help you, and really none of them did, outside of B.J. Finney being some nice trade bait for the Cincinnati Bengals. Was the last truly impactful signing, if I take out Uchenna, truly impactful, Michael Bennett and Cliff Averill?
Dang.
Now, I'm positive there's a couple names in between. There's been excellent midseason trades. If someone else can think of like a knock it out of the park free agent signing, and let me know. And while I will allow for like a Jaron Reed type, where it's like technically he was drafted by Seattle and then re-signed as a free agent, I'm more so thinking of guys outside the organization brought in. And I think that
played a number of years
and
after.
As a Seahawks fan, you're a little spoiled because you saw an example of two free agents signed on the cheap who were hugely impactful in Bennett and Averill, and you're kind of looking to be able to capitalize on that since and find something like that since, and you just haven't. So if Nwosu especially could have stayed healthy, maybe we would have seen a very different season from the defense. Very curious to see his 2024, but I think that I can safely say he's the last great free agent signing, and I would love if that list was just a little bit longer.